Lord be with us. How we doing today, guys? It's Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things nerdy through a common sense lens. And welcome to Sunday Funday, boys and girls. Our little version of it around here anyway, and I do apologize for being late. I was trying to get the baby camera set up, and lo and behold, as soon as I finally got all the kinks worked out, as soon as I've got all of the problems worked out and have the system working, my beautiful wife comes home. Yes, that's exactly how it went down, boys and girls. So I do apologize for being so late. We will definitely have some extra bonus time. We will go our normal hour time frame. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go a little long today. So I do apologize. And all of that kind of stuff, boys and girls, for being so late. But hey, that's kind of the way it goes with kids and trying to get a car fixed and a whole lot of other things going on right now. So yeah, I appreciate all of you guys being here. Like I said, I apologize for keeping you waiting, so we won't wait very long. I'm not going to go crazy with any intro or anything like that. Boys and girls, basic rundown of things. Not a pastor, not a priest, never been to any kind of seminary school, never even been ordained with one of them silly little ones online. Just a baby Christian. The old man upstairs put it on my heart to do a Bible study on my pop culture channel, and that's what we're going to do. And yeah, we're going through Kings 2 right now, right? If I remember correctly. And so yeah, we're going to go through some of that. We're going to get through some more of that today. And if you haven't been, if this is your first time here, maybe you're listening or lurking or watching this on the repeat. Normally, I'm very interactive with my chat. Normally, I go chit-chat with all of you guys and talk about all the things that are going on out there in the world and everything else. And but on this one, we're just kind of trying to read straight through the book and get through as much of it we can and put as much of the history and much of the cycles and much of the signs and much of knowing what all the kind of stuff that's going on out there is. So, but what will happen is if you are out there in the chat and for some reason you're listening or lurking, or if you're just out there coming in a little bit later or something like that, hopefully you'll hear some of this and know what's going on. So put your chats, put your questions, comments, concerns, all that kind of stuff in the chat while I'm reading through it. Whatever pops into your head, however the spirit moves you, put that in the chat. And then for the last 15 minutes or so of this stream, we will go over all of your guys' chats, read them all out loud. Also, just because a lot of times there's great questions, a lot of great comments. More often than not, if you've got a question out there, someone in the chat will probably answer it for you before I get to it, because there are people out there in the chat that are much more knowledgeable about this book than I am, that have this thing memorized forward and backwards. So definitely allow them to do all of that kind of stuff. Definitely allow all of them to answer those questions. And then we'll kind of, like I said, and then we'll read all the end of it off, and that way everybody gets to hear it, whether you're watching on the replay or doing any of all of that kind of stuff. I do appreciate that. And yes, we will get to that. You guys saw the dragon pop up. We will definitely get to that here in just a second shortly. That's just very generous, very kind of you guys. You know, that's never something I ever ask for on the Sunday Funday stream. So this is a task the old man gave me, and by God, I'm going to do it, because I learned a long time ago it's a bad idea not to do what he tells you. So that's what we're going to do. We're going through 2 Kings 3 today, boys and girls. We've got Moab fighting Israel, it looks like. So we've got a lot of the battles going on as you guys. If you guys haven't been here before, or if this is one of your first times coming in, or this is a friendly little rehash, we started out in Exodus and we're working our way through towards the front of the Bible, because we've seen a lot of the great kind of cycles that our cultures go through, and this is Western civilization's history. Whether you want to believe that or not, I firmly do, and this is a lot of the foundations of our country and of our judicial system as well. So this is the people that went through all of that kind of stuff, and the cycles of their culture, I think, remind a lot of people of very much of what we're going through right now. And I think to get this, seeing them go through the kind of cycles that we're going through in our own culture right now, with the narcissism and the ego and the whole aspect of that kind of thing getting in the way of seeing, the good in the world, being the moral in the world, and of course missing the face of God. And I think that's the biggest thing about that, is when this ego and this narcissism gets in the way, you see what we see nowadays in the modern era, whether you want to talk about the self-inserts in all of your comic books, your television shows, your movies, hi Kathleen Kennedy, or any of the rest of that kind of stuff out there. It's all the same kind of thing. People, and before, it's the oldest story in the book with Lucifer and God. Lucifer wanted to be like God. He thought he knew he was better than God. You can use that that exact same example across any one of your favorite IPs that has been taken over by some kind of monster that fucking hates it and wants to destroy it all. So we're reminding people, we're putting in a little bit of that morality back there in pop culture, trying to replace some of that new religion, quote unquote, that they're trying to put out there, the cult, as we like to call them so often, which is really no different than the same old kind of cults that our literal ancestors, the Israelites, were dealing with as well. So it's like, yeah, some things never change. It's literally, the history doesn't just repeat itself, it also rhymes. There's nothing new under the sun. So as the old saying goes, you know, if you don't study your history, you're destined to repeat it. So by God, boys and girls, we're going to study our history, and maybe we can learn some lessons from our ancestors on how to not only get ourselves out of this absolute insane mess of a cesspool that we have found ourselves, that we have put ourselves in, but also maybe put a little bit of God back in his place in our culture and our morality. How's that sound? So yeah, now we're going to say hi to all of you beautiful folks out there in the chat. We're going to get your average Patriot nerds, very, very kind donation out there. And then we're going to get into it, boys and girls. 2 Kings 3, unless for some reason, as always, correct me in the chat, unless for some reason I bookmarked the wrong thing, but that is the most forward in the Bible one we've got. So that should be the one. But let's say hi to all of you beautiful folks out in the chat, because we are live out there on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, locals for however long, Twitch, and of course our dear sweet friends over on Kick as well. Always good to see you guys. So let's say hi. Is the audio good now? Are we good now? Okay, it looks like it. Okay, it looks like it now. Tim had said he was having some issues with the audio in the beginning. It's just the BRB music. We should be okay. Well, good to see you, Tim Hayes, our very first channel member. Good to see you. And Griffin was the first one over on Rumble today, saying greetings and salutations, everyone's. And King Deplorables came in right after him saying, hail, Spaceship Vampire. Let's see where all we can find where it all started catching you guys. Oh, good, it did catch King Deplorables. Okay, good. So we got Shadow Warden. We got JR24 saying bonjour, fellow believers. Bonjour, JR24. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hopefully all the audio stuff's good now, Tim Hayes. Shadow Warden, one of our fine channel subscribers over on Rumble. Welcome to Sunday Bible Study ASMR edition, all right? Giggity. All right. I can barely hear the music. That's no fun. That's no fun. Well, hopefully it's okay now. Hopefully it's okay now. But what's up, King Deplorables? Yeah, we always having to play with the audio on things. We're always having to play with the audio on things. I should have just ran it through Rumble Studios. It would have worked just fine in Rumble Studios. I'll just do that next time for the BRB screen instead of bothering with any of the rest of this on the stream, on the computer. There we go. All right. We'll just go ahead and take care of this right now. Your average Patriot nerd gifted 1 common nerd membership for $5. Very kind of you, sir. You are part of the grease between our gears, keeping this machine running. Thank you very much, my friend. And he's part of the one of us that's keeping all of our supply lines running as well. So we always appreciate our truck drivers. Melissa Smith was the one who was gifted a membership by Your Average Patriot Nerd. So I don't know if Melissa Smith is out there in the chat, but if she is, make sure you thank Your Average Patriot Nerd. That's always a lot of fun. Get you access to all of those fun little emojis and member streams and all of that other kind of awesome things out there. So thank you very much for that, Your Average Patriot Nerd. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. It doesn't help any of my headphones only work on the left-hand side. All right, Tim Hayes. Well, that's more of a you problem than the rest of us problem. Let's be honest, my friend. Yeah, Your Average Patriot Nerd said, I heard Jesse in the background noise. Yeah, I probably forgot to mute my mic. I was running back and forth between here. I was trying to get the baby cam to work with Rumble Studios, and I don't think it was because I'm using the RSS feed thingy-mabobber, and so it didn't work. So I had to pull it up on StreamYards, and it took me like 2 times of trying with the Rumble to finally figure out that I couldn't get it to work. But we did get it to work, and we know exactly how to get it to work for future purposes. So if we need to use the baby cam, we know exactly what to do. Not a big deal. But you guys look like you're having some great chats out there. Good conversations. Good conversations. Say it again. Griffin says, I'm glad to be here. This is the one of the highlights of my week. I'm always glad to hear that. Animation Overload. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Glad you made it in. Glad you made it in. Yeah, where did I get? Did I miss Spaceship Vampire? Did I miss Spaceship Vampire? Where's Spaceship Vampire? I know I saw him show up. There he is, Spaceship Vampire. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. All right, I know we got at least one more friend in here to say hi to. There's Spinner21, our friend from down under, fighting the good fight out there in the Emu Wars. Good to see you, Spinner. Glad you made it in. I know it's late for you, buddy. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. And there we go. I knew I saw another one in there. Red Retro Dragon says, where can I watch the Toxic Avenger cartoon? I've never seen it. I'm not sure, Rad Retro. Oh, good. You know, you said you found it on Tubi. Hey, there you go. Tubi's always great. Tubi's always great. No applause was heard. All right, let me check something real quick. I know how to fix that. Hey, there you go. There you go, Average Richard Nerd. Now you heard it. Now you heard it. All I'm going to say is Kevin Conroy is the best animated Batman, and Mark Hamill is the best animated Joker. Shame Mark has lost his mind because of social media. I agree 100% with that one, Rad Retro. I agree with you 100%. I actually have the Batman the Animated Series on Blu-ray right over here on my desk. Right over here on my desk. So yes, absolutely. I agree with you on that one 100%. Yeah, it is a damn shame he's lost his mind. Absolute damn shame. Absolute damn shame. He was probably a little crazy beforehand, but I think a lot of the social media just kind of exposed the crazy and made it worse. I think that's always what ends up going down. Unfortunately. Unfortunately, boys and girls. Unfortunately. That's just what happens when you live in a bubble for too long. Everybody get out of your bubble every once in a while. Get out of your comfort zone. I went to Vegas. That wasn't too much of a culture shock. Not really. But, like, get out of your comfort zone sometime. Go around, be around people. I mean, okay, watching all the chicks walk around, like, half naked up and down the street, that was a little bit of a culture shock. I guess not really too much. I live in a beach town, so I guess not too much. But, yeah. Lavisher says, Wisty Melon, stupid phone. Aw, Wisty Melon is your stupid phone? That's a weird phone to have. I've never heard of a Wisty Melon. Has anybody ever had a Wisty Melon phone? I'm not sure. Somebody asked Parathis. Oh, that's Lavistro, actually. Never mind. That's Lavistro. Weird. Weird to see Lavistro over there. But yeah, somebody asked Lavistro, what kind of phone is a Wisty Melon? I'm not sure. He's going to be like, I fucking hate you. All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Griffin, I feel it all in my stomach about Mark Hamill. Met him twice in conventions in 2003. He was completely different. Funny, humane, made time for everyone. Welcome. I truly think The Last Jedi broke him. Funny how art imitates life. They broke our beloved character of Luke Skywalker, turned him into a shell of himself, and they broke the man at the same time. Where, what? Obsidian Odor! Not sure. This is my first time tuning into this live stream. Oh, there you go, Obsidian. I think it is probably your first one. I don't think it's the first time I've seen you in the chat, but the first time you've made it to a Bible study. Yeah, absolutely. 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 That's awesome. Well, glad you made it in today. All right, so we're going to go over 2 Kings 3 today. So we're going to... go through over that one. So, as per usual, we're going to start off with a little prayer. Because as always, the idea behind this Bible study is to go through and read the word and put it out there and try to get through as much of it as we can in its actual represented words itself. There's no more of the, did God really say that? Does the Bible really say that? There's no man in some pulpit out there somewhere telling you what it says, because it's not the Dark Ages anymore. You can actually read, and you have literally access to unlimited information in the palm of your hand, in your pocket, everywhere you go. Most of you don't even go to the bathroom without the thing, let alone anywhere else. So it's one of them situations where, boys and girls, there's no excuses anymore. There's no excuses to plead ignorance. There's no excuses to argue, semantics or about whether it says this or whether it says that. We're going to read straight out of the book. And we're going to see what it says. And we're going to see how much of it applies to our modern era, which if you've been around here for a little while, you'd know that quite a lot of it does. And it's kind of funny how much of it mirrors the exact same insanities that we see with dealing with people in Hollywood, on social media, sometimes in your day-to-day life. I know some of you have to deal with some of these crazies on the regular basis. Get the hell out of where you live, move to Texas. But, like, you're going to see it. You're going to look at this and you're going to go, oh, this really isn't anything new. No, it's not. It's not. Well, how did our ancestors deal with it? Well, ha ha ha. Not only does this book show you what all of our ancestors dealt with was the same as what we're dealing with now. Also, the solution. So, as is per usual, we're going to stop here for a second. We're going to do a little prayer, and we will, of course, if anybody that comes in during the stream later, we'll say hi to everybody. But other than that, we're just going to read the book straight through. So by all means, leave your comments, questions, concerns, all that kind of stuff down there in the chat, and we will go over the entire chat, both sides, Rumble, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you're at, and read all of that out loud, any of it that's relevant to the Bible, because sometimes you guys have conversations in between you, which of course is totally fine. But, obviously, no need to read that stuff out loud. But anyway, you guys get what I'm saying. I'm rambling at this point. I apologize. That's right, Obsidian Odor. Nothing new under the sun. That is an absolute fact. It's called Toxic Crusaders. I found it also, if you like Western games, play it. Red Dead Redemption 2. Loved Red Dead Redemption 2. One of my absolute favorite games. And I watched the Toxic Crusaders cartoon as a kid. Absolutely loved that show. But thank you for letting me know it's on Tubi. I will definitely have to introduce that to my children. So, but yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, boys and girls. So, if you'd like to join us in prayer, the idea behind this one is to ask for wisdom, guidance, because that's kind of the idea here. We're trying to learn from His Word and, internalize it and figure out different ways to apply it, not only in our own personal lives, but to the world out there on the whole. So, here we go. And then it's going to be story time. Lord, we come before you humbly asking that you be with us here today while we come together to go over your good word. Lord, your very own book says whether there are 2 or 3 or more gathered in my name, that you will be here with us. So together, today, even though we may be physically far apart, through this beautiful, beautiful miracle that you have given us, the internet and all the technology that goes with it, you bring our minds together. You bring our fellowship together today, Lord, to go over your good word so that we may learn from it, that we may glean the wisdom and the knowledge that you wish us to understand and internalize from it. Let us apply it not only in our own lives, Lord, but to the world around us as well. Guide us, Lord, and keep us on the path that's moving back towards you. Thank you for all the miraculous wins we've had. And thank you for allowing us to get back on your good side. Let us be the watchers on the wall, Lord, and let us don your holy armor. Let us come before you humble today, so that we may learn from your good word, so that we may walk in your light and on your path. To all our friends, near and far, bless them, Lord, and keep them safe. Let everything we do here today be to glorify you and spread your good word. As God has declared, so say we all. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. And all God's people said, Amen. Alrighty, boys and girls. Let's get into it today. All right. And back again, once again, to more epic battles, more epic fights. And I mean, just, let's be honest, billions of dollars at this point just left on the table for Hollyweird out there, because we've got Moab fights Israel. Man, you want some epic desert battles? Come on now. Mountainous regions. This could be a thing. This could be a thing. But of course, that might accidentally lead people back to God, and we can't have that now, can we? 2 Kings 3. Moab fights with Israel. In the 18th year of King Jehoshaphat's reign over Judah, Ahab's son Jehoram became king over Israel and Samaria. He ruled for 12 years. He did evil in the sight of the Lord, but not to the same degree as his father and mother. He did remove the sacred pillar of Baal that his father had made, yet he persisted in the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, who encouraged Israel to sin. He did not turn from them. Now King Mesha of Moab was a sheep breeder. He would send a tribute to the king of Israel, 1,000 male lambs and the wool of 1,000 rams. When Ahab died, the king of Moab rebelled against the king of Israel. At that time, King Jeroboam left Samaria and assembled all Israel for war. He sent this message to King Jehoshaphat of Judah. The king of Moab has rebelled against me. Will you fight with me against Moab? Jehoshaphat replied, I will join you in the campaign. My army and horses are at your disposal. He then asked, which invasion route are we going to take? Jeroboam answered, by the road through the desert of Edom. So the kings of Israel, Judah, and Edom set out together. They wandered around the road for 7 days, and finally ran out of water for the men and the animals they had with them. The king of Israel said, oh no, certainly the Lord has summoned these 3 kings so that he can hand them over to the king of Moab. Jehoshaphat asked, is there no prophet of the Lord here that we might seek the Lord's direction? One of the servants of the king of Israel answered, Elisha, son of Shaphat, is here. He used to be Elijah's servant. Jehoshaphat said, the Lord speaks through him. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Edom, went down to visit him. Jump in, Jehoshaphat. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Elisha said to the king of Israel, why are you here? Go to your father's prophets or your mother's prophets. The king of Israel replied to him, no, for the Lord is the one who summoned these 3 kings so they can hand them over to Moab. Elisha said, as certainly as the Lord who rules over all lives, whom I serve. If I did not respect King Jehoshaphat of Judah, I would not pay attention to you or acknowledge you. But now, get me a musician. When the musician played, the Lord energized him, and he said, this is what the Lord says. Make many cisterns in this valley, for this is what the Lord says. You will not feel any wind or see any rain, but this valley will be full of water, and your cattle and animals will drink. This is an easy task for the Lord. He will also hand Moab over to you. You will defeat every fortified city and every important city. You must chop down every productive tree, stop all the springs, and cover all the cultivated lands with stones. Now, this is one of the things that I kind of like, too, here. He's like, when the musician played, the Lord energized him. And he said, it's like they need the music to go. Like, I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. It's kind of like some of the stuff, like some of the other traditions we've seen in the past with like dancing and stuff like that. So like maybe, I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. Helps get you in tune. I guess that's one of the things for like worship, right? Like that's one of the big things in the Christian denominations where worship, you know, it's supposed to get you closer to God. It's supposed to be doing that kind of thing. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe the music was for like a version of worship back then. And that helps get you more in tune with God, you know, and makes it to where, you know, all right, well, fine. We'll stand here. We'll worship for a little while. See what the old man says. All right, here's what he has to say. So I think that's kind of cool. I like that. The music played. What David played the music and it pleased the Lord, right? Sure enough, the next morning at the time of the morning sacrifice, water came flowing down from Edom and filled the land. Now all of Moab had heard that the kings were attacking, so everyone old enough to fight was mustered and placed at the border. When they got up early the next morning, the sun was shining on the water. To the Moabites, who were some distance away, the water looked like red blood. The Moabites said, it's blood! The kings are totally destroyed. They have struck one another down. Now Moab, seize the plunder. When they approached the Israelite camp, the Israelites rose up and struck down the Moabites, who then ran from them. The Israelites thoroughly defeated Moab. They tore down the cities. Each man threw a stone into every cultivated field until they were covered. They stopped up every spring and chopped down every productive tree. Remember, that's what the Lord commanded. Only Kurs Harish was left intact, but the slingers surrounded it and attacked it. When the king of Moab realized he was losing the battle, he and 700 swordsmen tried to break through and attack the king of Edom, but they failed. So he took his firstborn son, who was to succeed him as king, and offered him up as a burnt sacrifice on the wall. Wow. There was an outburst of divine anger against Israel, so they broke off the attack and returned to their homeland. Wow. Firstborn son who was to succeed him as king and offered him up as a burnt sacrifice on the wall. There was an outburst of divine anger against Israel, so they broke off the attack and returned to their homeland. Wow. Wow. Talk about desperation. Holy cow. Woo. Y'all think we got it rough nowadays. Damn. I mean, damn. 2 Kings 4. Elisha helps a widow and her sons. Now a wife of one of the prophets appealed to Elisha for help, saying, "Your servant, my husband, is dead. You know that your servant was a loyal follower of the Lord. Now the creditor is coming to take away my 2 boys to be his servants." Elisha said to her, "What can I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in your house?" She answered, "Your servant has nothing in the house except a small jar of olive oil." He said, "Go and ask all your neighbors for empty containers. Get as many as you can. Go and close the door behind you and your sons. Pour the olive oil into all the containers. Set aside each one when you have filled it." So she left him and closed the door behind her and her sons. As they were bringing the containers to her, she was pouring the olive oil. When the containers were full, she said to one of her sons, "Bring me another container." But he answered her, "There are no more." Then the olive oil stopped flowing. She went and told the prophet. He said, "Go, sell the olive oil, repay your creditor, and then you and your sons can live off the rest of the profit." Now that's a miracle of the Lord. Olive oil out of a container that isn't empty until it's supposed to. That's awesome. One day, Elisha traveled to Shunammim, where a prominent woman lived. It reminded anybody about some fish and some bread? Does that remind anybody of something else? Nah, can't remember right now. One day, Elisha traveled to Shunammim, where a prominent woman lived. She insisted that he stop for a meal. So whenever he was passing through, he would stop in there for a meal. She said to her husband, "Look, I'm sure that the man who regularly passes through here is a very special prophet. Let's make a small private upper room and furnish it with a bed, a table, a chair, and a lamp. When he visits us, he can stay there." One day, Elisha came for a visit. He went into the upper room and rested. He told his servant Gehazi, "Ask the Shunammite woman to come here." So he did so, and she came to him. Elisha said to Gehazi, "Tell her, look, you have treated us with such great respect. What can I do for you? Can I put a good word for you in with the king or the commander of the army?" She replied, "I'm quite secure." So he asked Gehazi, "What can I do for her?" Gehazi replied, "She has no son, and her husband is old." Elisha told him, "Ask her to come here." So he did so, and she came and stood in the doorway. He said, "About this time next year, you will be holding a son." She said, "No, my master, O prophet, do not lie to your servant." The woman did conceive, and at the specified time the next year, she gave birth to a son, just as Elisha had told her. Because that was kind of one of the things, if you don't understand a lot about like Jewish history and traditions and stuff like that back then, that's the children took care of their parents. And so if you didn't have children, you weren't going to have anybody take care of you in your old age when you were decrepit. And honestly, I wish we were kind of more back to that kind of system where we did, have the last generation, we still lived a life enough to where we could have them staying with us instead of the nursing homes and all the rest of those horrors and stuff like that. Like, I'd much rather have, my mother. I would have much rather had my grandparents staying with me. Would have never convinced the old man to do it, but but the same thing with my mother, she's moving down to Texas, and like I prefer that. She's having a lot of health issues, having a lot of back issues, and the weather's going to be better for all of that. And I'd prefer to have her down here. So that way, it's that way when that comes to that point, it's like, all right, And so, yeah, yeah. So there you go. That's a hell of a miracle right there. Ain't gonna have nothing to worry about now. Got a son to take care of them all. So, yeah. The boy grew, and one day he went out to see his father, who was with the harvest workers. He said to his father, "My head, my head." His father told the servant, "Carry him to his mother." So he picked him up and took him to his mother. He sat on her lap until noon and then died. She went up and laid him down on the prophet's bed. She shut the door behind her and left. She called to her husband, "Send me one of the servants and one of the donkeys, so I can go see the prophet quickly and then return." He said, "Why do you want to go see him today? Is it not the new moon or the Sabbath?" She said, "Everything's fine." Didn't tell him what happened to the boy. She saddled the donkey and told her servant, "Lead on, do not stop unless I say so." So she went to visit the prophet at Mount Carmel. When he saw her at a distance, he said to his servant Gezi, "Look, it's the Shumanite woman. Now run to meet her and ask her, 'Are you well? Are your husband and the boy well?'" She told Gehazi, "Everything's fine." But when she reached the prophet on the mountain, she grabbed a hold of his feet. Gehazi came near to push her away, but the prophet said, "Leave her alone, for she is very upset. The Lord has kept the matter hidden from me. He didn't tell me about it." She said, "Did I ask my master for a son? Didn't I say, 'Don't mislead me'?" Elisha told Gehazi, "Tuck your robes into your belt. Take my staff and go. Don't stop to exchange greetings with anyone. Place my staff on the child's face." The mother of the child said, "As certainly as the Lord lives, and as you live, I will not leave you." So Elisha got up and followed her back. Now Gehazi went on ahead of them. He placed the staff on the child's face, but there was no sound or response. When he came back to Elisha, he told him the child did not wake up. When Elisha arrived at the house, there was the child lying dead on his bed. He went in by himself and closed the door. Then he prayed to the Lord. He got up on the bed and spread his body out over the boy. He put his mouth on the boy's mouth, his eyes over the boy's eyes, and the palms of his hands against the boy's palms. He bent down over him, and the boy's skin grew warm. Elisha went back and walked around in the house. Then he got up on the bed again and bent down over him. The child sneezed 7 times and opened his eyes. 7's a good number. Elisha called to Gehazi and said, "Get the Shumanite woman." So he did so, and she came to him. He said to her, "Take your son." She came in, fell at his feet, and bowed down. Then she picked up her son and left. Giveth, taketh away, giveth back, all to show the miracles that God can work. All to show the miracles God can work. Now Elisha went back to Gilgal. While there was a famine in the land, some of the prophets were visiting him and told his servant, "Put the big pot on the fire and boil some stew for the prophets." Someone went out into the field to gather some herbs and found a wild vine. He picked some of its fruits, enough to fill up the fold of his robe. He came back, cut it up, threw the slices into the stew pot, not knowing they were harmful. The stew was poured out for the men to eat. When they ate some of the stew, they cried out, "Death is in the pot, O prophet!" They could not eat it. He said, "Get some flour." Then he threw it in the pot and said, "Now pour some out for the men so they may eat." There was no longer anything harmful in the pot. Very nice. Now a man from Baal Shalash brought some food for the prophet, 20 loaves of bread made from the first fruits of the barley harvest, as well as fresh ears of grain. Elisha said, "Set it before the people so they may eat." But his attendant said, "How can I feed 100 men with this?" He replied, "Set it before the people so they may eat. For this is what the Lord says, they will eat and have some left over." So he set it before them. They ate and had some left over, just as the Lord predicted. That sounds familiar. I've heard that somewhere before. I've heard a story about that, something like that before. It's almost like history repeats itself. I don't know. All right. I'll think of it later. All right, 2 Kings 5. Elisha heals a Syrian general. Now Naaman, the commander of the kings of Syria's army, was esteemed and respected by his master, for through him the Lord had given Syria military victories. But this great warrior had a skin disease. Raiding parties went out from Syria and took captive from the land of Israel a young girl who had become a servant to Naaman's wife. She told her mistress, "If only my master were in the presence of the prophet who is in Samaria, then he would cure him of his skin disease." Naaman went and told his master what the girl from the land of Israel had said. The king of Israel said, "Go, I will send a letter to the king of Israel." So Naaman went, taking with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 suits of clothes. That's a lot. He brought the letter to the king of Israel. It read, "This is a letter of introduction for my servant Naaman, whom I have sent to be cured of his skin disease." When the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his clothes and said, "Am I God? Can I kill or restore life? Why does he ask me to cure a man of his skin disease? Certainly you must see that he is looking for an excuse to fight me." When Elisha the prophet heard that the king had torn his clothes, he sent this message to the king. "Why did you tear your clothes? Send him to me so he may know there is a prophet in Israel." I wonder why that guy was born with that skin disease. So Naaman came with his horses and chariots and stood in the doorway of Elisha's house. Elisha sent out a messenger who told him, "Go and wash 7 times in the Jordan. Your skin will be restored and you will be healed." Naaman went away angry. He said, "Look, I thought for sure he would come out. Stand there, invoke the name of the Lord his God, wave his hand over this area and cure the skin disease." Oh, it didn't happen exactly the way you expected it. I'm sorry. Talk about looking a gift horse in the mouth. Does this remind anybody of anything? Does this remind anybody of themselves at any point? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. "I thought for sure he would come out, stand there, invoke the name of the Lord his God, wave his hand over the area, and cure the skin disease." You mean I have to do some work to help out with this? You mean I have to put some effort into this? Walking here wasn't just enough? The rivers of Damascus, the Abana, the Pharpar are better than any of the waters of Israel. Could I not wash in them and be healed? So he turned around and went away angry. His servants approached and said to him, "O master, if the prophet had told you to do some difficult task, you would have been willing to do it. It seems you should be happy that he simply said, 'Wash and you will be healed.'" Nah. So he went down and dipped in the Jordan 7 times, as the prophet had instructed. His skin became as smooth as a young child's, and he was healed. Gotta love that, dipping people in the Jordan. He and his entire entourage returned to the prophet. Naaman came and stood before him. He said, "For sure I know there is no God in all the earth except in Israel. Now, please accept the gift from your servant." But Elisha replied, "As certainly as the Lord lives, whom I serve, I will take nothing from you." Naaman insisted that he take it, but he refused. Naaman said, "If not, then please give your servant a load of dirt, enough for a pair of mules to carry, for your servant will never again offer a burnt offering or sacrifices to a god other than the Lord. May the Lord forgive your servant for this one thing. When my master enters the temple of Rimmon to worship, and he leans on my arm, and I bow down in the temple of Rimmon, may the Lord forgive your servant for this." Elisha said to him, "Go in peace." Because obviously, his master serves someone else, serves a different god, and so you got to help out. He's like, "I know what it looks like, but I'm sorry." When he had gone a short distance, Gehazi, the prophet Elijah's servant, thought, "Look, my master did not accept that what this Syrian Naaman offered him. As certainly as the Lord lives, I will run after him and accept something from him." So Gehazi ran after Naaman. When Naaman saw someone running after him, he got down from his chariot to meet him and asked, "Is everything all right?" He answered, "Everything is fine. My master sent me with this message. Look, 2 servants of the prophet just arrived from Ephraim hill country. Please give them a talent of silver and 2 suits of clothes." Naaman said, "Please accept 2 talents of silver." He insisted and tied up 2 talents of silver in 2 bags, along with 2 suits of clothes. He gave them to 2 of his servants, and they carried them for Gehazi. When he arrived at the hill, he took them from the servants and put them in the house. Then he sent the men on their way. When he came and stood before his master, Elisha asked him, "Where have you been, Gehazi?" He answered, Your servant hasn't been anywhere. Elisha replied, I was there in spirit when a man turned and got down from his chariot to meet you. This is not the proper time to accept silver or to accept cloves, olive groves, vineyards, sheep, cattle, and male and female servants. Therefore, Naaman's skin disease will afflict you and your descendants forever. When Gehazi went down from his presence, his skin was as white as snow. An albino? He went down before him, leprous like snow. His skin was as white as snow. They make him an albino? That's interesting. I'll be curious to see people like Griffin and those out there in the chats comments on that, because I'm sure Griffin probably knows a lot more about that than I do. That's interesting. It's like, well, now you're going to be an albino, and now all your descendants are going to be are going to have the albino issue too. They're going to carry it on down into your genes. Good job, dummy, for thinking you were smarter than the boss. Oh, wait. Where have we seen this before? Somebody thinking that they were smarter and knew better than the guy that came before them. The guy that was there first. Where have we seen that before? I can't think of any examples right now. I'm sure one will come to me later. All right, 2 Kings 6. Elijah makes an axe head float. Ooh. See, this is what happens when you get really righteous with God. I would love to be this righteous. But the reason, but you know, it's like, what would we do with our superpowers? It's the reason why none of us are that righteous. Some of the prophets said to Elisha, look, the place where we meet with you is too cramped for us. Let's go to the Jordan. Each of us will get a log from there, and we will build a meeting place for ourselves there. He said, go. One of them said, please come along with your servants. He replied, all right, I'll come. So he went with them. When they arrived at the Jordan, they started cutting down trees. As one of them was felling a log, the axe head dropped into the water. He shouted, oh no, my master, it was borrowed. The prophet asked, where did it drop in? When he showed him the spot, Elisha cut off a branch, threw it in that spot, and made the axe head float. He said, lift it out. So he reached out his hand and grabbed it. Nice. Now the king of Syria was at war with Israel. He consulted his advice. See, all kinds of fun little miracles for Elisha. He got to do all kinds of cool stuff. Now the king of Syria was at war with Israel. He consulted his advisors, who said, invade at such and such a place. But the prophet sent this message to the king of Israel. Make sure you don't pass through this place, because Syria is invading there. So the king of Israel sent a message to the place the prophet had pointed out, warning it to be on its guard. This happened on several occasions. This made the king of Syria upset. So he summoned his advisors and said to them, one of us must be helping the king of Israel. One of his advisors said, no, my master, O king, the prophet Elisha, who lives in Israel, keeps telling the king of Israel the things you say in your bedroom. God's everywhere. Hears all. Sees all. Nothing hidden from God. The king ordered, go and find out where he is, so I can send him some men to capture him. The king was told, he is in Dothan. So he sent horses and chariots there, along with a good-sized army. They arrived during the night and surrounded the city. The prophet's attendant got up early in the morning. When he went outside, there was an army surrounding the city, along with horses and chariots. He said to Elisha, oh no, my master, what will we do? He replied, don't be afraid, for our side outnumbers them. Then Elisha prayed, O Lord, open his eyes so he can see. Ooh. The Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he saw that the hill was full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. The heavenly host, anyone? As they approached him, Elisha prayed to the Lord, strike these people with blindness. The Lord struck them with blindness, as Elisha requested. Then Elisha said to them, this is not the right road or city. Follow me, and I will lead you to the man you're looking for. He led them to Samaria. When they had entered Samaria, Elisha said, O Lord, open their eyes so they can see. The Lord opened their eyes, and they saw that they were in the middle of Samaria. When the king of Israel saw them, he asked Elisha, "Should I strike them down, my master?" He replied, "Do not strike them down. You did not capture them with your sword or bow, so what gives you the right to strike them down? Give them some food or water so they can eat and drink, and then go back to their masters." So he threw a big banquet for them, and they ate and drank, and then he sent them back to their master. After that, no Syrian raiding parties again ever invaded the land of Israel. I mean, like, yeah, who's going to try that again? I mean, like, okay, you guys remember last time we tried to do that, Israel? Remember how we were all, like, struck blind for, like, that 60-mile hike? You really want to do that again? Do you really want to do that again? No, no, I didn't think so. I didn't think so. The Lord saves Samaria. Later, King Ben-Hadad of Syria assembled his entire army and attacked and besieged Samaria. Samaria's food supply ran out. They laid siege to it so long that a donkey's head was selling for 80 shekels of silver and a quarter of a cab of dove's droppings for 5 shekels of silver. Ugh. While the king of Israel was passing by on the city wall, a woman shouted to him, "Help us, my master, O king." He replied, "No, let the Lord help you." "How can I help you? The threshing floor and the winepress are empty." How rude. Then the king asked her, "What's your problem?" She answered. The woman said to me, "Hand over your son. We'll eat him today and then eat my son tomorrow." So we boiled my son and ate him. Then he said to her the next day, "Hand over your son and we'll eat him." But she hid her son. When the king heard what the woman said, he tore his clothes. As he was passing by on the wall, the people could see he was wearing sackcloth under his clothes. Then he said, "May God judge me severely if Elisha, son of Shaphat, still has his head by the end of the day." Ooh, yeah, that's pretty fucked. They boiled one baby and ate it because it was hers, but then when it was turned to run around and give her hers, yeah, it didn't go so well. Whew, cannibals. Don't sacrifice your children for anything. Just, wow. What the fuck? Now Elisha was sitting in his house with the community leaders. The king sent a messenger on ahead. Oh yeah, and by the way, boys and girls, just a friendly reminder, the Bible is NC-17. They literally boiled a baby and ate it. Okay? This is not the fairy tales that you got in Sunday school, for those of you that went. Okay? This is the legit real stuff. Okay? Yeah. No. Not holding back around here. Not holding back around here. I mean, talk about a horror movie. Talk about a horror movie. Now Elisha was sitting in his house with the community leaders. The king sent a messenger on ahead. Before he arrived, Elisha said to the leaders, "Do you realize this assassin intends to cut off my head? Look, when the messenger arrives, shut the door and lean against it. His masters will certainly be right behind him." He was still talking to them when the messenger approached and said, "Look, the Lord is responsible for this disaster. Why should I continue to wait for the Lord to help?" Elisha replied, 2 Kings 7. "Hear the word of the Lord. This is what the Lord says. About this time tomorrow, a seah of finely milled flour will sell for a shekel and 2 seahs of barley for a shekel at the gate of Samaria." Basically meaning everything will be back to normal. An officer who was the king's right-hand man responded to the prophet, "Look, even if the Lord made it rain by opening holes in the sky, could this happen so soon?" Oh, you doubting little fool. Elisha said, "Look, you will see it happen with your own eyes, but you will not eat any of the food." Now 4 men with a skin disease were sitting at the entrance of the city gate. They said to one another, "Why are we just sitting here waiting to die? If we go into the city, we'll die of starvation. If we stay here, we'll die. So come on, let's defect to the Syrian camp. If they spare us, we'll live. If they kill us, well, we were going to die anyway." Fair argument. So they started toward the Syrian camp at dusk. When they reached the edge of the Syrian camp, there was no one there. The Lord had caused the Syrian camp to hear the sound of chariots and horses and a large army. And then they said to one another, "Look, the king of Israel has paid the kings of the Hittites and Egypt to attack us." So they got up and fled at dusk, leaving behind their tents, horses, and donkeys. They left the camp as it was and ran for their lives. When the men with the skin disease reached the edge of the camp, they entered a tent and had a meal. They also took some silver and gold and clothes and went and hid it all. Then they went back and entered another tent. They looted it and went and hid what they had taken. Then they said to one another, "It's not right what we're doing. This is a day to celebrate, but we haven't told anyone. If we wait until dawn, we'll be punished. So come on, let's go and inform the royal palace." Literally, boom. Went from your entire city starving, a baby getting boiled alive and eaten, and yeah, I'm just going to keep bringing that up, to the Lord made them hear chariots and the heavenly host. He was allowed them to hear the heavenly host coming for them, and they all ran away, leaving everything behind. Oh, how was I going to do it? Boom. All their wealth. Right back. Look at that. Look at that. Bam. Then they went back and entered another tent. They looted it. Oh, yeah, we got to that one. If we wait until dawn. So come, let's go and inform the royal palace. So they went and called out to the gatekeepers of the city. They told them, "We entered the Syrian camp, and there was no one there. We didn't even hear a man's voice, but the horses and donkeys are still tied up, and the tents remain up." The gatekeepers relayed the news to the royal palace. The king got up in the night and said to his advisors, "I will tell you what the Syrians have done to us. They know we are starving, so they left the camp and hid in the field, thinking, when they come out of the city, we will capture them alive and enter the city." No faith. One of his advisors replied, "Pick some men and have them take 5 of the horses that are left in the city. Even if they are killed, their fate will be no different than all of the Israelite people. We're all going to die. Let's send them out so we can know for sure what's going on." How many times? We're all going to die. So they picked 2 horsemen, and the king sent them out to track to the Syrian army. He ordered them, "Go and find out what's going on." So they tracked them as far as the Jordan. The road was filled with clothes and equipment that the Syrians had discarded in their haste. The scouts went back and told the king. Then the people went out and looted the Syrian camp. A seah of finely milled flour sold for a shekel, and 2 seahs of barley for a shekel, just as the Lord had said they would. Now the king had placed the officer, who was a right-hand man, at the city gate. When the people rushed out, they trampled him to death in the gate. Thus, this fulfilled the prophet's word which he had spoken when the king tried to arrest him. The prophet told the king, "The 2 seahs of barley will sell for a shekel, and a seah of finely milled flour for a shekel. This will happen about this time tomorrow in the gate of Samaria." But the officer replied to the prophet, "Look, even if the Lord made it rain by opening holes in the sky, could this happen so soon?" Elisha said, "Look, you will see it happen with your own eyes, but you will not eat any of the food." This is exactly what happened to him. The people trampled him to death in the city gate. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that's a good spot. I think that's a good spot to stop. Ooh, you gonna question God? You gonna question the Lord? How'd that work out for you? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right. All right. Let's get up to our amens, and we will start working our way down, boys and girls. I will start working our way down through the chat. All right. Where are we at here? All right. There we go. There we go. There we go. That's right. All right. You know what we're going to do here? I want to bring... I don't need to see this, but I can see your guys' chats easier this way. Cool. All right. Let's do it this way then. Diggs BTW1 over on Twitch. Good to see you, buddy. Glad you made it in. Hope you enjoyed our little Bible study today. All right. Amen. 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 All right. There we go. There we go. All right. Cool. There's our amens right there. All right. Your average Richard nerd says Moab, the children of Lot, Abraham's nephew. Yes. I love it. You guys always remind me of that stuff. Edom, children of Esau, brother of Jacob. Thank you. Yep. And Edom, descendant of Esau. To be fair, we're honest, aren't we all related? Technically. Technically. Yeah, JR24. Great Jehoshaphat. That's right. Music can reveal some revelation. Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. Absolutely, JR24. Absolutely. Yeah, talk about baby sacrifice. Yeah, it brings a whole new meaning to that, doesn't it, JR24? Doesn't it, though? Griffin says, I can honestly never understand why someone would sacrifice their children. No, really. I mean, it's one thing for a quick death, but these... Oh, hold on. Let me see here. Yeah, but these were almost always live, gruesome sacrifices. Holy shit. Boiling them alive. Holy God. Sorry, I had a little stain over there on my screen. I need to wipe those screens off. Holy cow. Yeah, talk about baby sacrifice. Jeez. Yeah, I can't even imagine that one. Like, I'd cut off my right arm and feed my kids before I'd do some fucked up shit like that. Like, Jesus. What the fuck? Well, left arm, to be fair. But holy shit. Yeah, holy shit. That's dark. That's dark. Yeah, Archer says, I don't have children, but I can't understand that either. Absolutely. For what it's worth, Ghazi is pronounced Guhazu. 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 Okay, thank you, Griffin. Hopefully that one never comes back up again. But if it does, remind me before I get started. Guhezu. 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 Why has he got a long I at the end? Guhazi. God's capitalism. Yeah, there you go, Jared24. Yeah, God's capitalism. I like that. Yeah, Griffins has been around children for a long, long time. Even taught 5th grade for 2 years. Oh, wow. Love that job more than anything. So, no, I don't get it. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Griffin. Hell yeah. Proud says, I'm trying to tell my parents to move down here, but they say no. I tell my son his duty as a firstborn is to take care of me when I get old. It's called repaying what was given. Amen, Parathis. Absolutely. Another good reason to have so damn many like me and the old lady. Oh, yeah, absolutely. As it should be. As it should be. JR24, miracle pregnancy. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Press says, I'd rather die than go to an old folks' home with the crazy cat. Yeah, the cat ladies with no kids. Yeah, absolutely, Press. 100%, man. 100%. Lord, call me home on stream. I have 2 nieces and 1 nephew. Couldn't conceive of that for them. Yeah, absolutely, your average Patriot nerd. Absolutely. Insanity. Insanity. JR24 says, that's right, miracle revival. Bring him back. Bring him back. You thought one blessing wasn't enough. You thought you were going to just see one miracle, God. The fact that you had a baby at such an old age. Boy, not only are we going to do that, we're going to watch this too. Well, bam! We're going to bring him back. Love it. Griffin's like, I know, creepy positioning. Not only that, how many times has the resurrection more instantaneous? Why would it take such time to revive that boy? Don't know. Still breathing life back into him. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because it took so long to get back to him. I don't know. A little bit more to fix. I'm not sure. We'll have to ask the old man when we get up there. Can we just go back and watch? Can we just go back and watch? Shadow Warden 99 says the welfare states creates disincentives for parents to treat kids fairly, thus leading to resentment of the parents and creating a cycle of having generation high and dry, leaving generation high and dry in the sun. Yep. Yeah, that's what we're trying to fix. That's one of the things we're trying to fix, Shadow Warden. Putting a little morality back into the culture, brother. Trying to teach them the right way as best we can. It's like the old man says. It's like it says in the good book. Put his word out there and just let it do its thing. So that's what we do. We put it out there. We leave all of these streams live on all of the channels that we stream it to, and let it go out there and do its thing. That's all we can do. Charity, oh no, poison. Yes, indeed. Griffin says he was hoping a good life for all of them, and that they had. Oh yes, talking about your archwitch nerds, nieces and nephews, absolutely. Yeah, thanks to the prophet antidote. Yeah, absolutely, Jared 24. Yeah, the Jordan River healing power as well. Yep. Griffin, skin disease. A little unnerving that people don't know what leprosy is. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad it's almost eradicated, but people don't even know what it is. Well, when they said when they passed it on, well, they also think is the reason why. Sonia said, hello, beautiful. Glad you made it in, darling. Bless you too, sweetheart. May the Lord bless you, dear. Glad you're here. I don't think it would be leprosy, though, right? Because it also got passed down to another descendant. It got passed to the other guy and said, your descendants will carry this forever. Well, the descendants aren't going to be born with leprosy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you're going to have that happen. But that's why I was thinking more albino. That's why I was thinking more albino than leprosy in this case. So, JS Pena, what's up, buddy? He says, hey, Common Nerd. There's this campaign on Kickstarter. This guy named Robert Vertica called Tankers. It looks awesome. JS Pena, have him reach out to me on Twitter. Have him reach out to me on X. You know, we do the Wednesdays shows where we highlight indie creators. So yeah, JS Pena, have him hit me up on Twitter, and we'll schedule him in. Kervin says, I rather like Naaman. No, really, just pointing that out. Why Washington and Jordan is insulting him so much. Consider this. That was the river that the commoners went to wash themselves and their clothes. Oh, he was too good for the Jordan. Oh, well, maybe he needed a little humble pie then, huh? Maybe he needed a little humble pie along with his blessing. I like that. Now that makes sense. That explains it, Griffin. I like that. JR2 Forces, God bless those who are willing to do the work. There you go. Absolutely. 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 Which what? I think we're at like 830 subscribers over on the new YouTube channel now or something like that. Frickin' 3 to 4 videos a day, Monday through Friday. We did 3 on Saturday. We got out 2 coming out today. We got another one coming out at 4 o'clock, and we are trucking right along. I appreciate all y'all helping out that with the comments and stuff like that. Lord is blessing us. Yeah, leprosy is a vicious disease, especially back then. Yeah, I'd banish them into the community and have such slow death ahead of you. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it was that. I don't think it was leprosy. Spaceship Vampire says, ooh, or maybe a vampire. Oh, don't. Could be Spaceship Vampire. Spaceship Vampire always just gets excited. Any excuse he can use for that one. Any excuse you need for that one. Maybe a vampire. Yeah. Sonia, man, I need it. Yeah, you and me both, sister. You and me both, Sonia. Maybe a vampire. That'd be great. It's great that Elisha refused the gifts. Absolutely. Absolutely, Jero24. Absolutely. Here, Irish Reader says, so that's where white people came from. See? There you go. There you go. Absolutely. Diggs again. What's up? Good to see you, Diggs. Just saying hi again to you. Yeah, there you go. That's why you don't lie about the prophet's words. Yep, absolutely, Jared24. Yep. Now his whole family's cursed with albinoism. Good job, dummy. At least that's my opinion. Not just albino, leprosy deadens the skin, then nerves, and then cardiovascular system in that order. See, and that's why I'm saying I don't think it was that, because really you're going to curse all of his descendants with leprosy as well? That's because you just basically say you're going to end his line at that point. So I think the albino makes more sense. And the other guy was like serving his country as like an officer in their military and stuff. Like, that's kind of hard to do all that with leprosy. So I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. But yeah, I don't know. Gehazi to become bleach white means leprosy had advanced to its latter stages. What's worse is that it struck his kids, present, and future. See, that's what I'm saying. I like albinoism makes more sense to me. Yeah, if only Gehazi was that lucky, really. No. The host of heaven is pretending Elisha. I don't know what you mean by that one, JR24. Might have mistyped. Correction, 6 Mile hike and becoming a prisoner of war. And to really humiliate you, they invite you to go to the guest of the victory party over you. Yeah, then send them home with a consolation prize. Yeah, Griffin, absolutely. Yeah, that was pretty hardcore. That was pretty hardcore. I love it. That's why, hey, Sonia, that's why it's a good idea to make sure you make it to these Sunday Bible studies. Ask Griffin how much good they do him every week after dealing with all the bullshit he has to deal with every week. So don't miss it. 2 p.m. Inflation. Yeah, no shit, right, Jared 24? Spaceship Vampire. Take the hint, Thanos, all right? Griffin, King of Syria, did you raid Israel? Syrian leader, no, King of Syria. How dare you come back? You promised to bring me something. Syrian soldier, we brought you some rice-a-roni. Leftovers. Brought you leftovers. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, cannibalism, very shocking, JR24. Rice-a-roni, parting gifts was The Price is Right. Israel edition. I love it. Indeed, and if you mock the consolation prizes, you get leprosy. The Price is Right. Israel edition is hardcore, man. I love it. I love it. Charity 4, run away, run away. Yeah. We're all gonna die. That's right. Man, what a humiliating way to go. He probably realized he was getting trampled. Oh, this was my fault, wasn't it? Yep. Right, you're getting trampled by all the people going out there to get all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Griffin needs a nap. How many times did he get trampled in the nuts before he died? Ouch, says your average nerd. Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. TR24, too many dumb questions. Yes, absolutely. See his answer several times. Read it again. Over 500,000 people left, all hungry as can be. They were desperate and learned there was plenty of food a few miles away. Yeah, and I guarantee you nobody stopped to move his body. No, there was... Oh, man. That had become a mess after a while. Arrogant idiot was in front of a locked door bar in their way. No, you silly starving people. You just wait right here and wait for my word. Yeah, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Yeah. There's Sonia coming in with all her sweetness. There you go. All right. Yes, amen. I need it. Don't you and us all, sister. You and us all. Irish Richard Nurse says, I could be wrong. Esau, Edom. Esau, Edom. I don't know. Special Vampire says, what are the vampires for? Yeah, what else are vampires for? That's a good point. That's a good point. What did one vampire say to the other? You suck! It's cheesy, it's old, but you deserved it. It's cheesy and old, but you deserved it. Yeah, see, yeah, Irish Richard Nerd. Roll, snare drum. Gets bad sunburns. Good point. Yeah, there you go. Gets bad sunburns. All right, boys and girls. Well, there we go. I think we made up plenty of time there, an hour and a half, where normally this tries to be about an hour. So I appreciate all of you guys being here. I hope this was a fun time for all of you. I know Griffin always says it's one of his highlights of the week, and I know it always is for me too. Great. Excuse me. Oh, shit. I always forget to turn that off. I always forget to turn that damn thing off. Yeah, bloody mess indeed. Bloody mess indeed. So yeah, boys and girls, 7 p.m. tonight, we got When Who Was Good. Don't miss it. Miss Sunker Maiden and Mr. Grant Gregory be hanging out with us, going over some of that. Probably doing some Torchwood, maybe some Sarah Jane. We'll see how everything goes tonight. Should be a good time, but we'll have a blast with all of that. We'll be raising some more money for because next weekend we have Corpus Christi Comic-Con. Is next weekend, so we've got our press passes, we've got all the kids tickets bought, just waiting on got just a little extra spending money or whatever else is. We got a couple other things that we should grab too. There's some cool costumes that my wife saw for a big package for all the kids that would be able to dress up and do some cool stuff with that too. So come check us out tonight at 7 p.m. You can get Common Nerd Stoned. We'll be doing the gummies. All the gummies, so direct donations will be great for all of that for next weekend for the Comic-Con. So come check us out tonight for that at 7 p.m. Other than that, we'll be back out tomorrow for 11 a.m., boys and girls. So I appreciate all of you being here. Your average Patriot nerd, Griffin, Spaceship Vampire. There we go. Over on YouTube, of course, Sonia, our beautiful Sonia. Always good to see you, baby girl. Glad you made it in today. JR24, Tim Hayes. Always good to see you guys so very much. For everybody else out there lurking and listening or catching this on the replay, we love you all. Appreciate y'all being here. Try to catch us live at 2 p.m. if you can make it into the chat. It is always a good old time. The Obsidian Odor over there as well. Good to see you as well. Appreciate you guys so very, very much. So, I'll see you guys tonight for some Doctor Who. I appreciate all you guys being here. And next week, 2 Kings 8. Elisha again helps the Shumanite woman. More miracles. More good stuff going to happen. More good stuff happen, boys and girls. So, as always, it's Jesse with Common Nerd. I bring you pop culture and all things underneath through a common sense lens. Thanks for watching. God bless. I love you all. Enjoy the credits. And we'll see you guys tonight at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. When Who Was Good. God bless. We'll catch y'all later. Enjoy the credits. Oh.